Hello everyone, a very heartful greetings to Utkarsh family. A very warm, very evening to all of you. Before we begin, it's a humble request to each and every one of you that please share this session so that we have a great discussion on the topic of GST. As a thumbnail said, always said that we are about to talk here goods and service tax, and it's a part of fiscal policy, it's a part of public finance, but we have a great discussion separate, that goods and service tax. What is goods and service tax? We have a blueprint that what we are going to talk here. Let's see. Goods and service tax. Goods and service tax. Let's have a blueprint of this topic. Goods and service tax. In short, we can say that GST. What are the sub points in this topic? We are going to discuss here that first we will discuss here what is GST. What is GST? And very important segment, we have a chart here that firstly we will discuss here that what is GST. Then again we will discuss here 101th Constitutional Amendment Act. 101th Constitutional Amendment Act. And in this act, 5 bills are passed. Then we have to discuss here that each one of the bill, that UTGST, SGST, IGST, and we can say that State Compensation Act. Then 4 and 5 bills were passed 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. Next, we will discuss here development of GST. Development of GST process. Development of GST. GST constitutional provision. Constitutional provision. That what are the constitution provisions were made related with GST. We have to discuss each and one of the article of this topic. Very important. Pramod, good evening. I'm very perfect. How are you? What is GST? Then 101th Constitutional Amendment Act. That was, we can say that 5 bills were passed against this GST, development of GST, then why need of GST. We will discuss each one point that will help you in the mains examination. So we will discuss as well as prelims and as well as mains examination perspective. So GST constitutional provision, and again last but not the least, we will discuss here GST related composition scheme. What is composition scheme? Along with the composition scheme, we will discuss here e-way bill, e-way bill, electronic way bill, and again National Anti-Profiting Authority and Indian Competition Commission. What is the role of NAPA and ICC here? We will discuss here. Okay, so here we have a short blueprint of GST. Firstly, we will discuss here what is GST, why need GST, why we have reform in the indirect tax, and the development of GST which have come from the 2002 and then 2017. And again 101th Constitution, what this act say, and the constitutional provisions, what are the article related with GST, and the composition scheme, and e-way bill, NAPA, ICC. What is NAPA and ICC? We have to discuss here, very important thing. Along with this, we will discuss here GST rates also, development, why need GST, constitutional provisions along with GST rates. GST rates. So before we begin, we have to discuss here that GST is a which type of tax. Is this indirect tax or is this direct tax? What is this? You have to tell here in comment section that GST is a which type of tax. Which type of tax? Is this indirect tax or direct tax? We have to say that it is the biggest reform in Indian economy, in Indian history, that there is a very big important GST is a very big important reform in Indian economy, and that reform is, we can say that it is an indirect reform, not direct reform, it is indirect reform. So before we begin start GST, we have to discuss that GST is a indirect tax. It is a indirect tax. Then we have to discuss what is indirect tax. Indirect tax. There is a two type of tax. First we will discuss direct and the second indirect. But we are here going to discuss here indirect tax. Then is a short brief direct tax and indirect tax. There is a big difference. What direct tax is and what indirect tax is. We can give an example that if the impact of tax and the incident of tax, it is on the same person, then we can say that it is a direct tax. And the impact of tax and the incident of tax, both are at the different unit, both are at the different persons, then we can say that it is a indirect tax. So we have to discuss here GST, which is indirect tax, not direct tax. So we have to say that 1st of July 9, 2017, there is a big reform in the indirect tax, not direct tax. So we can say that impact of tax and the incidence of tax. Impact of tax and the incidence of tax, both are at the same person. Impact of tax and the incidence of tax, both are at the same person, then we can say that it is a direct tax. And then when impact of tax and the incidence of tax, impact of tax and the incidence of tax, incidence of tax, both are at the different person, at the different unit or different person or the different institution, then we can say that it is a indirect tax. For example, we can say that if a income tax is a type of direct tax and a goods and service tax is a type of indirect tax, and we are talking about here GST, and GST itself says that it is a goods and service tax. Goods and service tax. We have already known that impact is that immediate effect of the tax, and the incident of tax is that we can say final bear of the tax. You can say that what is impact? Impact says immediate effect of the tax. Immediate effect of the tax. And incidence of tax, final bear of the tax. Final bear of the tax is called incidence of tax. And again we can say that direct tax is that tax, that impact of tax and the incidence of tax at the same unit, then we can say that direct tax. And the impact of tax and the incidence of tax is at the different person, both are at the different unit, at the different person, then we can say that it is a indirect tax. So GST is a indirect tax. Is that clear to all of you? So GST is a indirect tax. Okay. We have a blueprint. Then what is GST? We have to discuss here what is GST, 101th Constitutional Amendment Act and development of GST. Why need GST? GST constitutional provisions. What article says? We can say GST rates. We have to discuss here GST rates. And then again GST composition scheme, e-way bill scheme, and the next we can say NAPA, National Anti-Profiting Authority, and Indian Competition Commission. What it will say is that in 2022 NAPA was abolished and in place of NAPA ICC was established. So what is this? We will discuss here. Okay. If you have any query, so please you can ask in comment section. We will discuss each and every one of you, and we are here to solve your queries. So please you can ask any questions. If you have any doubt, you can ask easily. Okay. Next, come to the topic, then what is GST? We have discussed here that direct tax is impact or incidence. There is a difference of impact and incidence. It imposed on the income tax. It is imposed on income. and that it is imposed on goods and service tax. Goods and service tax. Goods and service tax. There is a difference in direct and indirect tax. Let's come to the topic. Before we start, it's a very good news to all of you that our main channel Utkarsh classes is around to reach 30 million subscribers. So it's a humble request to each and every one of you that please subscribe the channel so that we can cross 30 million cross subscriber. So please, it's a very humble request. Again, there is a request to each and every one of you, please guys, request that subscribe this channel because we are around to reach 13 million. This is a big achievement because of you, because of your support. We have reached here 30 million subscriber. Okay, next come to the topic, and the topic is that 101th Constitution Amendment Act. What it says that 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. Next one to but come to the 101th Constitutional Amendment Act. Constitutional Amendment Act. Constitutional Amendment Act. 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. What it says that we can circle this Amendment Act because it is a big amendment and is a big revolutionary, we can say that revolutionary step in Indian history and in Indian history, Indian economy. So 101 Constitutional Amendment, there is a 4 amendment. That first one was CGST Act. We can say Central GST Act. This act was passed. There was overall 5 act that was passed in Parliament. 1 act was passed in state legislature and the 4 act was passed in Parliament. So Central GST Act, this was the first one, and the second one was, we can say, Interstate GST. Interstate GST Act. And the third one was UT GST. We can say that UT, Union Territory. Union Territory GST Act. And the last, which we have passed in the Indian Parliament, on the Central Parliament, then the State Compensation Act. State Compensation Act. State Compensation Act. These four acts was passed in Indian Parliament, and the one, but note the last, we can say SGST and State GST Act was passed in state legislature. State legislature. State legislature. This 4-1 was passed in Parliament. And the state GST was passed in state legislature. So we have 101th Constitutional Amendment Act, which was related to GST. You have to remember this because it was, we can say that it was 122 bill, but the act was 101. There is no confusion that it was 122 was bill, but the 101 was act. See, clear? Okay. Next, come to the next subtopic, development of GST. We have discussed here what is GST. GST, what is GST? You have to write here that it is a destination-based tax. What is? It is destination-based tax. Destination-based tax. It is a comprehensive tax. Comprehensive tax. It is a multi-tier tax. Multi-tier tax. It is a multi-pointed tax. we have to discuss here that you have to written that you have to write it all of the point, multi-pointed tax. It is a value added tax. Value added tax. You have to write this that GST is also called destination based tax. GST is also called comprehensive tax, and GST is also called multi-tier tax, multi-pointed tax, value-added tax. We have to discuss each and every one point of view, that why it is called destination, why it is called comprehensive, why it is called multi-tier and multi-pointed, and next value-added tax. Before we start GST, we have to understand the VAT system, that what is VAT. So let's have a point that what is VAT, because our GST is based on VAT. GST is based on VAT. So after all, it is based on VAT, because it is based on VAT, so we have to discuss that what is VAT. So what is VAT? It is a value addition tax. Value added tax. Again, there is a big point. It is not a tax. Generally, we can say that it is a tax, but it is not a tax. VAT is a method. What is? VAT is a method, not a tax. But some country uses this VAT method as a tax. So we can say that it is a tax. But generally not a tax. It is not a tax. It is a method. It is a method. It is a method which is used to implement any type of tax. Our tax system, our GST indirect tax is based on VAT system. So that it is a method or it is a system upon which our GST is based. So what is value added? We can understand this with a very short example. This example is that if a farmer produce wheat and the cost of the wheat comes 100 rupees. There is a some cost 100 rupees. Suppose a farmer produces wheat and the cost of the farmer comes 100 rupees. Then the wheat again reaches flour mill. Flour mill, the mill which convert into flour. Then there is a some cost also. He should use some machine also to make this process. Then wheat is a processed flour. Then there is a some cost, and the cost is 50 rupees. Again we can imagine that cost is 50 rupees. Then flour becomes ready in 150 rupees. In 150 rupees. Again it reaches bakery, and the bread is made from the flour, and again he has to use yeast in order to make bread. So there is a some cost also, and the cost is 50 rupees again, and then it becomes 200 rupees. Then we can say that each and every production there is a value addition. The first one point is that there is a 50 rupees value addition, there is a 50 rupees value addition. So this is a value added. This is value added. We can say that this is value added. Value added. But before GST, how we can use that? We are imposing this tax on 100 rupees, we are imposing this tax in 150 rupees, and we are imposing this tax in 200 rupees. Then there is a tax on tax. Let's see that there is a tax on tax. There is a tax on tax. Why tax on tax? 100 rupees we have given the tax on 100 rupees already. Then again 100 rupees tax also included. Then 50 rupees tax is valid, but 100 rupees tax is it should not be included. But we are using this method. Before VAT system in India 2005, before 2005 VAT was not a system. After 2005 we are using VAT system, but not in wholly we can say that products. So GST is a overall, we can say that it is a overall using VAT system. So before 2005, we are using this type of procedure and we are giving tax on tax, repeatedly tax on tax. The in fact is that inflation was created. Inflation was created and the production cost was increased. Production cost was increased because of the tax on tax. And the tax on tax, this procedure we can say cascading effect. Cascading effect. We are saying that cascading effect. Tax on tax is a procedure and the tax on tax is called cascading effect. So we have to discuss that because of cascading effect, GST was implemented in India. We are using this effect. Indian economy is suffering from cascading effect. That's why GST was needed. So it is a very important that we have to understand what is VAT. In VAT system in 1954, it was firstly implemented in France. In 1954, it was firstly implemented in France. But Canada model, which are based on VAT as well as GST, our Indian tax system, GST, is based on Canada model. So there is in France, there is only VAT system. It is running smoothly. There is no need on GST. But Canada, GST as well, and VAT system is also there. So, but India, it is VAT system also. There is VAT system also, and the VAT system, there is a GST also. So our Indian tax system, that is GST, is based on Canadian model, not on France model, because in France there is smoothly running only VAT, and that's why there is called VAT, value addition tax. But generally it is not a tax, it is a principle, it is a method which is used to implement any type of tax. Clear? Okay. So we have understand the VAT principle, VAT system. It is a method, it is not a tax, it is a method. In India, VAT system, GST is based on VAT system. Okay. So we have to understand that what is GST. So we are point at what is GST. It is a comprehensive tax. It is a comprehensive tax. Comprehensive tax. Why comprehensive? Because comprehensive. Why comprehensive? Because it included goods and services. And why comprehensive? Because 17th indirect tax was included in GST. That's why we are saying that it is a comprehensive tax. Next, we can say that it is a double tax system. Why double tax system? Double tax system. It is a double tax system. GST is a double tax system. In option, question is asked that GST is a double tax system. It is very obvious that because of double tax system. Why double tax system? Because there is a two type of tax, just like 18%, so 9% tax should imposed by the central government, and the 9% would be imposed by the state government. If the tax is 28%, that half and half would be imposed by state government and central government. So there is a CGST and there is a SGST. That's why we are saying that it is a double tax system. Is that clear? Okay. Third point is that it is a destination based tax. Destination based tax. Why destination based tax? Because the input tax credit should be transferred on the destination, because the product which have reached at the last state. So the input tax credit will be given by the state, by the central government to the state at which the product has reached at finally. So it is a called destination based tax. Next, we can say that it is a multi-tier tax. Why multi-tier? Because each and every production there is a value addition, and the tax is imposed on the value addition only. And each and every point value addition tax should be imposed. That is why it is called multi-tier tax. Again, it is called multi-pointed tax. Multi-pointed tax. Why multi-pointed? Because each and every point at value addition it is imposed, tax is imposes. That is why we can say that it is a multi-pointed tax. Again it is called value added tax. This point is very clear to you, that value added tax. Why value added? Because each and every point the value addition and the tax is imposed on the value of the addition of the product. That is why it is called value added tax. Clear? So what is GST? It is a comprehensive tax, it is a double tax system, it is a destination based tax, it is a multi-tier, multi-pointed, and that value added tax. Is that clear to all of you? Okay. Then what is GST we have discussed here. Again we are going to discuss here that there is not only GST, there is all other tax also, that we can say that indirect tax. GST is the indirect tax. So GST included taxes. What are the taxes which are included in GST? So there is a tax, we can say that central excise duty, merger of tax, central excise duty. There is a merger of central excise duty. So you have to remember that central excise duty is presently included in GST. It is a tax which is imposed at the very first point of the production within the country. What is central excise duty? It is a tax which is imposed on the very first production of the product within the country, not outside the country, within the country. That is why it is called central excise duty. Now it is imposed as a CGST in the CGST manner in GST. So because it is merges in GST. So very important, it is a central excise duty. Next we can say that custom duty. Custom duty. Custom duty is also included in GST, and in custom duty we have two taxes, two duty, just import duty and export duty. Import duty and export duty. Import duty and export duty. Third one is that custom duty. Third one is that service tax. Service tax. It was imposed firstly in 1998. There is a committee 1994 to 95. There is a committee, R Chalaiya committee. What is committee? R Chalaiya. R Chalaiya committee. On the recommendation of R Chalaiya committee, service tax was firstly imposed on 1998. In the recommendation of Chalaiya committee, the committee was formed in 1994 and 95, and the recommendation of Chalaiya committee, service tax was imposed firstly in 1998. That's why there is a constitutional amendment of 18th Constitutional Amendment Act, that the tax imposition right was given to central government. Right of imposition was given to central government. Was given to central government. Central government. So again, this is a central government right, that service tax was imposed by the central government, not the state government. So that service tax now it is included in GST. Again, additional excise duty. It was also imposed by central government. It was also included in GST. Again, surcharge and cess. Surcharge is imposed on income, and the cess is imposed as well as income as well as goods and services. Surcharge and cess was also included in the GST. Again, this was this all was the taxes which was imposed by the central government. Again, we can say that state government also seen. This was central government. taxes. State government taxes, we can say that state government taxes. What are the state government? State government imposes sales tax, advertisement tax, it was imposed by the state government. octroi, जिसे चुंगी कर कहते हैं, octroi tax, it was also imposed by the state government. Entertainment tax, it was also imposed by the state government. Then sales tax, advertisement tax, or we can say that entry tax, जिसे कहते हैं प्रवेश शुल्क, entry tax, it was also merges into GST. Okay, purchase tax, again we can say the purchase tax. So overall we can say that there is also different types of tax, but we can say that overall government imposes 17 different indirect taxes. 17. This is a sum of the example, not 17. We are not going to discuss here 17 taxes. This is a very important that this is an example that what are the taxes which included in GST. So GST taxes included central government taxes also and state government taxes also. So we can say that 17 different taxes was included in GST, That is a big point, and some of the example are here. Central excise duty, custom duty, it is a part of import duty and export duty. Services tax, additional excise duty, surcharge and cess, these all are included in GST. And the state government taxes are that sales tax, advertisement tax, octroi, जिसे चुंगी कर कहते हैं, entertainment tax, entry tax, purchase tax, these all are included in GST. So we can say that different 17th indirect taxes which indexes indirect taxes were included in GST. That is a big point. So you have to remember that. But we have to discuss here the development of GST as well. This is an example, but you also know that development of GST, what is the development of GST? How the GST have come here, and there is a procedure. This procedure was started in 2002 at the recommendation of Vijay Kelkar committee. There is a first point when the GST was recommended by the Kelkar committee. So firstly, development of GST we can say 2002, and 2002 there was a committee, Vijay Kelkar committee. This was the beginning of GST. Again, Vijay Kelkar committee in 2002. After 2002, after 1 year later, 2003, Vijay Kelkar advised to adopt GST. If a question is asked that Vijay Kelkar committee was constituted for which purpose? It was framed for the direct tax as well as indirect tax, because this is a committee for direct tax also and it was a committee for indirect tax also. So this is a big question. That question can be framed here. Indirect tax. It was a direct tax committee also, it was indirect tax committee also. But the recommendation we have to discuss here that indirect tax, this committee advised to adopt GST in 2003. But in 2003 the GST was not implemented because of some reason, because the government was not agreed to adopt this at an early age, at an early time period. So there is a starting in 2002 and then again 2003. Again 2006 there was a declaration. Again 2006 there was a declaration. Then what is the declaration? What was the declaration? And declaration was that Again, 1st of April 2010, we will implement GST, but again some reasons it was not implemented. It was not implemented. So 2006, the efforts was again failure. So there is a efforts in 2002, there is an efforts in 2003, then efforts in 2006, and again we can say there is a big effort in 2011. And the 11th effort was that in 2011, a constitutional act 115 constitutional amendment bill was passed in Lok Sabha. But it was passed only Lok Sabha, not Rajya Sabha. That's why this bill was collapsed. So again, this is the efforts, and the efforts was that 115th constitutional amendment bill, not act. This bill was passed because this procedure is not completed. That's why it collapsed in Rajya Sabha, and there is no signature of president. Again, in 2011, after 2011, there is a year 2016. There is a year in 2016, and 2016, we can say that, 2014. There is a bill passed, and the bill was 122. 122 constitutional amendment bill was passed. That was bill, and the bill was in 2014. Again in 2016, this bill was passed in Lok Sabha. This bill was passed in Lok Sabha, and again it was passed in Rajya Sabha as well. Rajya Sabha mein bhi pass hua, and in 2016 it was made a Constitutional Amendment Act 101, Constitutional Amendment Act. Again it was, what is act? It was passed. It was passed. And again 8th of September 2016, President made a signature on the bill. President made a signature on the bill. President made a signature on the bill. So that was the development of GST. Again, the procedure is not completed. 1st of July 2017, the GST was implemented completely. GST was implemented. GST was implemented. So that was the development of GST. Firstly, in 2002, Vijay Kelkar committee was formed from direct tax and then indirect tax committee. It was both direct tax committee as well and indirect tax committee as well. In 2003, this committee advised to adopt GST, but it was not implemented. In 2006, there was a declaration by the government that 1st of April 2010, we will implement GST, but it was not again implemented. But in 2010, there is a bill was passed. You don't have this idea, but you have to remember this. You have idea 101 and 122. But there is also 2011, there was a efforts, and the efforts was 115th Constitutional Amendment Bill was passed in Lok Sabha, but it was collapsed in Rajya Sabha. That was not implemented. Then again, we can say that over 2014, there was 122 Constitutional Amendment Bill was passed. That was bill, but Act 101. The Act was 101 in 2016. 8th September of 2016, President made a signature, and 1st of July, GST was implemented. Again, when GST was implemented, all the state legislature passed the bill in their constitutional assembly. Passed the bill. And the Assam became the first. Assam was the first state to implement GST. Was the first state to implement GST. So that was the development of GST. Clear hai? Is it clear to all of you? So you have to remember in this chart manner. It will be easy to remember 2002, 3, 6, 11, and then again 2014. For this was very important. 14, 16, and 8 September of 2016, President made a signature, and then 1st April of 2017, GST was implemented completely. And all the legislatures, all the state legislature passed the bill, and then we can say Assam became the first state to implement GST. Is that clear to all of you? Okay. Again, we have a discuss that why need GST? Why it was a need to implement GST? We are discussing here the development of GST, what is GST, and the Constitution Amendment Bill, that 5 bill were passed. 5 bill were passed, and then 5 bill were, we can say that first bill was Central GST Act, Interstate GST Act, Union Territory GST, State Compensation Act, and State GST Act that was passed in state legislature. But the question raised in our mind that why it is the need of to implement GST in our country, why it was so necessary to implement GST. We can proceed the same procedure. We have running our economy, we are running our tax system before 2017 as well, but why it was become necessary to implement the GST? The question is very important, and question can be asked in our mains examination, so it is very important. There is a big achievement to our Utkarsh family, and you have to grateful this very important thing that we are around to reach 13 million subscriber at our Utkarsh main channel, and it is a very humble request to each and every one of you that please hit this channel, subscribe this channel, so that we can cross 13 million also. So very important, it's a big achievement, and because of your support we have reached 13 million. So please cross this 13 million to 100 million also. So it is because of your efforts, it will become because of your efforts. So please subscribe this channel, hit the channel, and as well as share the channel, so that we can cross the 13 million subscriber. Clear? Okay. So next we will talk here GST. Why the need of GST? The question comes in our mind that why need of GST. So we will discuss the question why need GST. The question can be asked in mains examination. Why there is a need of GST? Why GST need? Why need of GST? So question is very important, and the question can be framed in mains examination that why the GST was needed in Indian economy, in Indian tax system, and the tell about something the Indian indirect tax reforms. The question can be framed that what is the question can be framed? In mains question can be asked. Tell something about indirect tax reform in India. So you have to discuss GST as well. There is a not direct question, there is an indirect question. Then question can be asked that tell something about indirect tax reform in India. And the indirect tax reform is GST reforms. You have to discuss here GST. So question can be asked in 10 marks, or question can be asked in 5 marks. We have to prepare both of the marks, 10 marks as well and 5 marks as well. So then why need of GST? The first, we can say that there was a basic reason, because there was different tax rates, but GST makes tax rates common. There are only 4 rates: 0, 5, 12, 18 and 28. This rates was same in all over India. Maharashtra, this is the same. In Gujarat, this is the same. In Rajasthan, this is the same. But before GST, this was the different tax rates in Indian tax system. So because of the different tax rate, there was a complexities in Indian tax system. That's why GST was needed. So first point is that. What is the first point? because of different tax system, because of different tax system, because of different tax system, there was complexities. There was complexities in tax system. There was complexities in tax system. Because of different tax system, there was complexities in tax system. That's why GST was needed. That's why GST was needed. I hope this first point is very clear to all of you, that because of different tax rate, we can understand this point in a very short example. That what is the example? Example is that before 2017 and after 2017, we have two situations in Indian economy, before and after. After 2017 and before 2017. What was before? If we have to understand that, just like we can frame a diagram so you can easily understand this very important topic. You can also make in your mains examination. This diagram is not for only geography or history. You can use in economy as well. So firstly, we have to discuss that this is Rajasthan, this was Gujarat, this is Gujarat, Maharashtra, Jammu and Kashmir, we can say that UP. There was different tax rates. Before 2017, that when GST was not implemented in Indian tax system, then Jammu Kashmir was taking different tax, UP was taking different tax, Rajasthan was taking different tax, Gujarat also taking different tax, and Maharashtra as well. So both are, we can say that all the states are taking different tax rates. But after GST, because we can say example that if a product is produced in Rajasthan, and the product is produced, central government imposes CED, central excise duty. And if a product is made in Gujarat, central excise duty was imposed by the central government. But if a product is sell in Rajasthan, enter the state within the state, then Rajasthan imposes sales tax, and the sales tax was different. Rajasthan sales tax was different, UP sales tax was different, Jammu Kashmir sales tax was different. Every state was imposing different sales tax. But after GST, the sales tax has become same all over the country. Then again, we have to understand that if this product is reach in UP, then UP imposes different sales tax. If the product which have used the raw material from Gujarat, and the Gujarat giving the raw material to Rajasthan, then there is a imposition of transport tax. We can say that service tax, there is a service tax as well. So there is a different tax rate and the complications of tax rate. But after GST, there is a same tax rates. Maharashtra will impose sales tax as GST in the form of SGST, and the SGST remain overall India the same tax slab. SGST will remain same. Before 2017, when GST was not implemented, then the sales tax was different. because of complexities. If a, suppose if a foreign investor came in India, come in India, and then he wants to do any investment in India, then he has to understand every state tax system, because there was different tax rates. So there was a very complicated for foreign investment, that how we can invest in India. There is a discouragement of investment. So that's why now if a foreign investor came in Rajasthan, and then he or she should have to understand the GST system only, and the GST says only 4 or to 5 taxes, and the taxes are become same in overall the country. That's why we can say that GST implement one nation, one tax, and one market. So it is very important that GST is implemented on the concept of one nation, one tax, and one market. One nation and one market. One nation, one tax, and one market. So because of the complexities of taxes, there was a needed of GST. That's why GST was implemented. This is the very first point. So we have to circle this. You have to make this diagram in mains examination as well. It will impact your answer. It will definitely give your boost in examination. So because of different tax system, there was complexities in tax system, and that's why GST was needed. The second point is that, what is the second point why GST was needed? Second thing is that there was tax on tax, and that's why cascading effect was created. Cascading effect was created. Cascading effect was created. There was tax on tax, that's why cascading effect was created. What is cascading effect? Cascading effect itself says that when the tax is imposed on the tax, again tax is imposed on the tax, that is a cascading effect. So that's why, because of cascading effect, there was the needed of GST. There was tax on tax, and the tax on tax, circle this point, tax on tax, and the tax on tax is called cascading effect. There was cascading effect. Because of cascading effect, that's why GST was needed. To reduce, we can say, to reduce the cascading effect, GST was needed. To reduce the cascading effect in the market. There was highly tax evasion. Because of GST, there is a system of online system, there is an offline system. That's why tax evasion also reduces. So earlier 2017, before 2017, there was a highly tax evasion, and the highly tax evasion, the tax collection was very low, and that's why GST was needed. So again, third point is that why GST needed? There was highly tax evasion. There was highly tax evasion. Tax evasion, what is a tax evasion? You have to understand that what is tax evasion. According to Income Tax Act 1816, tax evasion term was defined in the Act of Income Tax Act 1816. According to Income Tax Act 1816, it is an illegal process. It is a illegal process. An illegal process in which a person escape from giving tax by providing false information. So it is important that tax evasion, there was highly tax evasion, and to reduce, in order to reduce tax evasion, there was a need of GST. In order to reduce tax evasion. So we have discussed 3 points here. The first point was that because of different tax system, there was complexities in tax system. That's why GST was needed. And the second point is that to reduce the cascading effect. In order to reduce the cascading effect, what is cascading effect? When the tax is imposed on the tax, again tax is imposed on the tax. It is cascading effect. And there was highly tax evasion, and in order to reduce tax evasion, there was a needed of tax system. Income Tax Act 1816 defined the tax evasion. Then what is tax evasion? It is an illegal process in which a person escapes from giving taxes by providing false information. That is an illegal process. There is again term tax avoidance. Tax avoidance, according to Income Tax Act, tax avoiding is not an illegal process. By giving the government concessions, if you have invest some money in the LIC policy, health insurance, then government will give you rebate in the tax system. That was a legal process, but it is a illegal process. Is that clear to all of you? So third point is that in order to reduce tax evasion, GST was needed. Again, fourth point is that to increase tax base. To increase tax base. What is tax base? Number of production. If number of production will increase, then the tax collection will automatically increase. Number of production. There was less revenue, there was no high revenue because of narrower tax base. That's why GST was needed. So GST has reduced the cost of production. GST has reduces the inflation. The cost of production has reduced. That's why tax base is already increased. Next, fifth point. There was no coordination in Indian tax system. There was no coordination. There was no coordination at international level. At international level. There was no coordination at international level in the Indian tax system. Indian tax system. That's why GST was needed. That's why GST was needed. These are all the points that you have to discuss here. Next point, we can say that to increase foreign direct investment. To increase foreign investment in India. Foreign investment in India. GST was needed. So this is all the point that why GST is needed, why GST was needed in India. Next 7 point, we can say that to integrate Indian tax system. How integrate? Because 17th indirect taxes was merged in GST. Because of the integration of Indian tax system, we have merged 17th Indian taxes. That's why we can say that to integrate Indian tax system, GST was needed. That's why we can say that GST is a integrated tax. So you can mention here that GST is a integrated tax. 7 point you can mention here. GST is a integrated tax. Integrated tax system. Why integrated? Because 17 tax were included in GST. That's why we can say that it is an integrated tax system. So we have discussed here what is GST. GST how many taxes were included? 17 taxes, that is indirect taxes, were included in this particular GST. And some of the example here: central government taxes and the state government taxes, these all are merged in GST today. And then development of GST, that is very important point. Development, it was started in 2002, and the Vijay Kelkar committee, it was not only for direct tax committee reform, it was also indirect tax committee reform also. But in indirect taxes in 2010, it advised on to adopt GST. In 2006, it declaration that government declared that 1st of April we will implement GST, but it was not implemented. Again 2011, 115th constitutional amendment bill was passed in Lok Sabha, but again it was collapsed. Again 2004, 122nd constitutional amendment bill was passed in Lok Sabha, that was proceed in Rajya Sabha also. Then again it became the 101th constitutional amendment act. The GST was 101 constitutional amendment act that was passed in 2016. Then again president's signature, when it was made 8 September of 2016, and again 1st of July 2017 GST was implemented, and the Assam became the first state to implement GST. Why needed of GST? We have discussed here that because of different tax system, there was very complexities in Indian tax system, that was GST was needed. Again, there was no tax on tax, there was tax on tax, and the cascading effect was created in Indian tax system. And to reduce the cascading effect, GST was needed. There was highly tax evasion. In order to reduce tax evasion, that's why GST was needed. What is tax evasion? According to Income Tax Act 1860, it is a legal process in which a person escapes from giving information by providing false information. Okay, cascading effect. Cascading effect is, it is a cascading effect is that when the tax is imposes on tax. Just example, we have seen here example. Let's see the example here. Just like wheat, farmer produces 100 rupees wheat, then it goes to the flour mill, then flour mill added some value, and the value is 50 rupees, then it became 150, flour become 150 rupees. Then it comes to bakery, then the bread is made, and he also used some yeast, and then value added, and the value added 50 rupees, then it comes in 200 rupees. Before GST, it was running the Indian tax system. How? Then the tax is imposed in 100 rupees, then again tax is imposed on 150 rupees, then again tax is imposed on 200 rupees. Then the effect is that here 150 rupees, here 100 rupees. Already 100 rupees tax is given here. Again we are going to given again we are giving here tax 100 rupees as well as 50 rupees. Again tax is imposed on 200 rupees. 200 rupees, 150 rupees tax is given on 150 rupees. Again we are giving here 150 rupees and again 50 rupees as well. But the tax is should be imposed only the value addition. Before GST, the tax is imposing after the every stage. 100 पे भी हम टैक्स दे रहे हैं, 150 पे भी, 200 पे. But the thing is that tax should be given only the value addition. So that is why VAT system also come here in GST process. That's why we can escape from the tax on tax. This is the cascading effect. Cascading effect when we are giving tax on tax. Here 100 plus 50. Tax would be given only 50, but we are giving 100 as well. Why 100 as well? Because we have given here already. Why we should give here also? So first time it is given here, the second time again it was given here, and that 200 rupees, 200 the tax should be given only 50 rupees, but we are going to give here only 150 also and 50 also. But the thing is that tax should be given only 50 rupees. So that's why 150 here we have given, 150 here we have given, 100 rupees we have here given, and 100 rupees we have here given. So that's why cascading effect is that tax on tax. The production's cost should be increased automatically. If we have only value addition tax, that the cascading effect will not create it. That is very important. Okay. Chaliye. Next, move to the next topic. And the next topic is that development of GST we have discussed here, why need of GST. Then again we have to discuss here, let's have the blueprint of GST. We have discussed why need of GST, and then GST constitutional provision. We have discussed, we are going to discuss constitutional provision. So make a heading, constitutional provisions of GST. Constitutional provisions of of GST. You have to remember the constitutional provisions, that what is the constitutional provision? Constitutional provision is that, firstly we can say that article 366, article 366 article 366 says that GST definition, it is a definition of GST, and 366 we can say that there is a two sub article, 366(12) and 366(26) clause A. So there is again two article that 366A and 366(24) clause A. It defined the definition of GST. And definition of GST. Again we can say that 366 article 36A on 366(24)A, it gives an article of goods definition of goods, and again 366(24) clause A, it gives the definition of services. And what is the definition? Definition says itself that all are goods except liquor. Yani liquor is consumption alcohol. All are goods except liquor. So what is liquor? Liquor is a consumption alcohol. Then services, what is services? Except commodities, all are services. Because there is a difficult to define services, because services are we can say that unlimited. So we can say that what is not a commodity is a service. All are services. Here we can say that, in other word we can say what is not a commodity is a services. What is not commodity is service. What is not commodity is service. So article 366 definition of GST, and GST itself says goods and services. Then we can say that goods definition and services definition 366(24)A. Again there is an article of 246A. 246A. What is 246A? It gives the right to central as well as state legislature to make an act on GST. So it empowers central government and state legislature it empowers central government and state legislatures to make an act on GST. So that is 246A. Again we can say that there is article 269A. 269A, it talks about IGST, interstate GST by central government. IGST by central government. It gives an empower to central government to imposes IGST. When the trade is between one state to another, then IGST is imposed, and IGST imposed not only, it will not imposed by the state government, it will imposed only by the central government. So Article 269A talks about IGST, interstate GST. Okay. So again, there is Article 270. There is Article 270. So what is 270? We can say that tax collection from GST will be the part of divisible pool. Will be the part of divisible pool. Divisible pool will be the part of divisible pool. Tax collection from GST will be the part of divisible pool. Divisible pool on the recommendation of Finance Commission. On the recommendation of Finance Commission. On the recommendation of Finance Commission. Finance Commission. Finance Commission. Then again there is a last article, and the article is 279A. This very important article, and there's make a 4-star on this article. Why? Because it talks about GST Council. We will talk about GST Council as well. So this is an article which talks about GST Council. Is that clear to all of you? So there is a constitutional amendment, constitutional provision, GST under kaun sa act tha? Act is, we can say that 101th Constitutional Amendment Act. And that was 122 Constitutional Amendment Bill. Is that clear to all of you? Please, if you have any doubt, so you can ask any questions. So there is Article 3661, 366241, 246A, 269A, 270 and 279A. So there is a constitutional amendment, constitutional provisions for GST. Is that clear to all of you? Then again we will talk here GST Council. Is that clear to all of you? Definition also we have discussed that all are goods except liquor. Liquor को छोड़ के consumption, alcohol that is for used consumption is not under the ambit of GST, but except liquor all are the goods which are included in 366A article. And 36624 article included services, and the services, what is not commodity is services. What is not commodity is services, is service. Is that clear to all of you? Okay. Next, come to the next sub point, that GST Council. What is GST Council? So make a heading, GST Council. GST Council Article 279A. 279A. GST Council. So GST Council, we can say that if we see the structure of GST Council, it is formed by President, and the structure of GST Council is that structure of GST Council. Then the chairman of GST Council, we can say that Central Finance Minister will be the chairman of GST Council. So chairman, Central Finance Minister. Central Finance Minister. Central Finance Minister will be the chairman of GST Council. Again, we can say that State Finance Minister also member of GST. State Finance Minister at the center will also be the members of GST. So other members, State Finance Minister, will be the members of GST, and we can say that state finance minister at center. At center. At center. So this is the structure of GST council. Again, we can say that what is the quorum? There is also quorum of GST. That quorum is that we can say that 75% attendance is very required for the quorum. So quorum, 75% attendance is required. Is required. Again, we can say 75% members is required for the quorum of GST. Again, after quorum, we can say that voting. Votes. What are the, how many votes are required for consent? So that we can say that, quorum is 50% and the 75% votes is required. 75% votes are required. Votes are required. 75% votes are required for any consents. So that is very important point. You have to remember that 50% attendance is required, that is quorum, and then votes, 75% votes is required for any consent. And the votes, there is a collaboration. Votes should be collaborate with central as well as state government. So votes, central as well as state government. Center as well as state government. So there is a 2/3 of state, 2/3 of state and 1/3 of center. We can say that 33 and 66 ratio. 33 and 66. So 33 is central government ratio and 66 state government. Central government and state government. No consent will be made without the recommendation of state, and no consent will be made without the recommendation of state central government. So there is a, we can say that the state alone can't take any decision, the central government can't take alone any decision. So both decision is very important in GST council. So you have to make a note that say state alone can't take any decision. Can't take any decision. So there is a very important that state government should require as well as 1/3 permission of central government as well, and central require 2/3 permission of state government as well. Both decision will be important. That is why we can say that cooperative federalism. This is a very big example of cooperative federalism. Is that clear to all of you? So that is, we will talk about GST council. Now we have to discuss here the functions of GST council. Again, we will talk about functions of GST council. Functions. Functions of GST council. Functions of GST council. What is the functions of GST council? We can say that it is very important that to require the GST rates. Then what will be the GST rates in India? Then GST rates will decide the GST council, and the different rates for the northeast states. It also decide by the GST council, and we can say that to determine the rates to operate the GST system. This is a very important features of GST council. The first one is that to operate GST system. To operate GST system. In future, electricity, liquor, we can say that in future electricity, if a tax is imposed on electricity, then it will recommend, after the recommendation, the tax will be imposed. So we can say that to operate GST system, to determine the different tax rate, to determine the GST tax rate. determine the GST tax rate. Again, we can say that to determine the different tax rate for northeast states, different tax rate for northeast state. So this is the function of GST Council. Again, we can say that good evening. So we can say that functions of GST Council. What is the functions to operate GST system? This is a very big features of GST. Again, to determine the GST tax rate, to determine the different tax rates for northeast state, because northeast states has a different capabilities. They have tax collection very low. So there is a very important thing that GST Council makes different tax rates for the northeast state. Again, we can say that if in future any tax will be imposed, then GST Council will recommend. So after that, we can say that GST Council can recommend to impose tax on electricity, petroleum product, etc. Petroleum product, etc. There is a very big point that on the consumption of alcohol, GST Council do not have any right to recommend the alcohol consumption taxes, because if government wants to impose tax on the alcohol, then government should have to recommend on the Constitutional Amendment Act. Because liquor, we have seen the definition of 366 article. 366 says that except liquor, all are the goods. So if in future there is a recommendation of liquor, GST Council will not recommend. There is a very important that government must have to amendment in the Constitution. So liquor is not very important, that there is not easy to make a tax imposition of liquor, because it is a autonomous features of the state as well. So we can say that there is article 366A which define goods definition, 366(24)A which defines services definition, and 246A empowers the central government as well as the state legislature to make an act on GST. And then 269A, it is a act which talks about the IGST, interstate GST, which is imposed by the central government, not state government. If a IGST issue is come, then it is not empowered to state government, it is empowered to the central government. Then article 270 talks about it is a part of divisible pool. What is a divisible pool? Divisible pool, Finance Commission will decide after 5 years that how many tax collection will goes to the states. So it is a power of Finance Commission. So this power for Finance Commission is given in 270 article, but Finance Commission as well, its body is defined into 80 article, but here is a divisible pool and that is a part of 270 article. Again, GST Council, this is a very important point, because GST Council is a new features of GST, and the Constitutional Amendment 101 says that 279 article A will talk about GST Council. So this is a very important point. So it is very clear to all of you that GST Council, article 279A, chairman, member, quorum, votes 2/3 and 1/3. State alone can't take any decision, and central government can't take any decision alone. They have both collaboration, and that is why we can say that cooperative federalism. This is cooperative federalism. Is that clear to all of you? Okay. So function of GST Council, the first function is that to operate GST system, to determine the GST tax rate, to determine the different tax rates in GST. So then question came into your mind that, ma'am, what is the GST rates at present? So GST rates, let's see the GST rates. What are the GST rates at present, which GST Council have decided? Because we have seen here that tax rate will decide by the GST Council. So there is a 5 tax rates. First one is that 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. This is a tax slab which are decided by the GST Council. But again, if you are going to purchase gold or diamond, there is a different tax rate. So gold, if you buy gold, there is a 3% tax rate, 3%, and 3%, 1.5% by the CGST, central government, and 1.5% by the SGST, state government. Again, we can say that if you buy diamond jewelry, diamond, there is a tax, and the tax is 0.25, 0.25% in gold, because persons purchases gold very high in quantity, that's why tax rate is high. But diamond, there is a low demand, there is a no demand in India as well, because there in particular weddings we purchase gold, not diamond. So that is why diamond, there is a less tax rate and there is a high tax rates. It is 3%, it is 0.25%. Otherwise, it is 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. Note it down, then we will discuss again here. Is that clear to all of you? If you have any queries, so please ask some questions so that we can discuss here any type of questions. Just like Kartavya Vaishnav have asked cascading effect, so we have discussed cascading effect again. So if you have any questions, please give your point so that we can discuss here. Kartavya, Sushma, Sonam, Pinkesh Kumar, have you any doubts? Have you any doubts? So we have discussed, let's see what we have discussed here. Goods and services tax, what is tax, development of tax, and again we can, here there is a big achievement for us, for you as well, because we are about to reach 30 million of YouTube subscriber. Not exact 30 million, but we are around to reach, and because of your support, we are very soon we will cross the 30 million, and we will very soon cross the 133 million also. So there is your support that we will here cross this 13 million subscriber. So please, it's a humble request to each and every one of you that please subscribe this channel so that we can cross this 13 million our subscriber. There is a big achievement for Utkarsh as well as for you also. So this is very important for you. Then again, 101 Constitution Amendment Act, this is very important. This has 4 acts: central SGST, interstate SGST, union territory GST, state compensation act. We are not discussed here compensation act. What is compensation act? Because of GST, there is a revenue loss of state government as well. So there is, because of revenue loss, government asks that we will give you, central government will give you, central government will give state government compensation, state government compensation, and the compensation will be given on the basis of 2015-16, on the basis of 2016 2015-16 financial year. Again in 2022, this compensation will increase for the 5 years. This compensation will has increased for 5 years. Clear? Okay. So again, we will talk about the benefit of GST. What is the benefit of GST today as well. So next, make a point that benefits of GST. if a question is asked in mains, then you have to give your points in the different manner. Not you have to you don't have to don't have any necessary that you have written as a passage manner that GST's benefit is that not. You have to written this mains examination, you have to write that what is the benefit of economy, what is the benefit of business class, what is the benefit of consumer class. So you have to segregate. The more you have segregate, the more you have given the numbers, the marks. So that is why you have to make your skill very important, because if you write, then your skill will become more effective. If you don't write, then your skill will submissive, your skill will be automatically not sharpen. So that is very important that you have to practice more and more on mains examination. So because we don't have to clear only prelims examination, we have to clear the whole process, mains, prelims, mains, and then interview. So if you want to become an administrator, actually you want to make an administrator, so that's you have to make an effort in your class. So that is very important. You don't have to clear only prelims examination. This is in your mind, that it is very important that you have to return mains as well in future. Not today, but in after some years, you have to return mains examination as well. So why not we prepare at an early time period? So please make an effort in your mains skill also, so that we can easily crack this examination in the holy manner. Is that clear? Okay. So benefits of GST. What are the benefits of GST? We have to discuss in each point. First, the consumer class. Make a chart. Benefits of GST. The benefit of consumer class. Highlight the word consumer class. Consumer class. Benefit on business class. Business class. Benefit of Indian economy. Indian economy. Benefit on Indian tax system. What are the benefit of Indian tax system? Indian tax system. So you have to segregate these points in this manner, that what are the benefit of consumer class, then what are the benefit of economy, then taxation system, Indian tax system, and then Indian economy. So we have to return this last point, Indian tax system. Indian tax system. So very important, what are the benefits to consumer class? Consumer class, we can say that consumer, in short, we are how we are benefited by the GST. So we are consumer class, then we can say that if GST is included, that it is based on VAT system, and the VAT system automatically reduces the production cost, and the production cost reduce, then the final value of the goods will reduce, and the inflation will control, and then we can say that consumer can easily purchase any type of goods. So we can say that it reduces the final value of goods. Final value of goods. And when the final value of goods will reduce, then persons making purchasing power will increase. Purchasing power will increase. When purchasing power will increase, then we can say that living of standard will increase of the person. Living of standard will increase, and then we can say that per capita income will increase, and per capita income when increase, then national income will also be increased. So this is the effect on consumer class. Then what are the benefit of business class? Business class, we can say that on the shopkeeper, how they are benefited. When demand, final value of goods will reduce, then we can say that consumer demand will increase. Consumer demand will increase. Production cost will decrease. Production cost will decrease. When the consumer demand will increase, then we can say that the profit of consumer class will increase. Profit will increase, business class का जो profit होगा वो बढ़ जाएगा. Then again we can say that on the business, say that ease of doing business will increase. Ease of doing business. Ease of doing business will increase automatically. So this is the effect on business class. Again, what is the impact of Indian economy? Tax compliance will increase. People will easily pay any tax because it is online tax system. Then the tax evasion will automatically reduce. Tax evasion reduce. Tax base increase. Tax base increase, and we can say that transparency economy. ट्रांसपेरेंसी यानी इकॉनमी कैसी हो जाएगी, ट्रांसपेरेंस होएगी. वी कैन से दैट कोऑर्डिनेशन इन द इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम, वी कैन कोऑर्डिनेट इन इंडियन टैक्स सिस्टम. सो कोऑर्डिनेशन विल इंक्रीज्ड, कोऑर्डिनेशन with tax system. Again, what are the benefits on Indian tax system? Indian tax system, what are the benefit of Indian tax system? We will discuss here that tax collection will increase. Tax collection increase. When tax collection will increase, government revenue will automatically increased. Government revenue will increase. Tax collection बढ़ेगा, government revenue बढ़ेगी. तो we can say that Indian tax system will coordinate Indian tax system. International tax system. International tax system. In economy, we can say that foreign investment will increase. Foreign investment will increase. So that are the these are the benefits of Indian tax system and on the Indian economy, business class and the consumer class. So you have to write answer in your this manner so that we can segregate each and every one topic of our beneficiary tax system. So these are the benefits of consumer class. We have seen the consumer class benefits, we have seen the business class kind of benefits, we have seen the Indian economy benefits and the Indian tax system benefits. So these are the benefits of Indian tax system. Next, we have to discuss the challenges also. What are the challenges? Challenges are not so much important, but you have to remember that what are the challenges. Challenges of GST. Challenges is that suddenly state revenue has become low because technical infrastructure is not here. Infrastructure, this is a big problem. Infrastructure is big problem. Then again we can say that IT assistants is not there. We can say that digital divide is a big problem. Digital divide. Again we can say that internet speed is a big problem. Internet speed. Not adopt new technology. New technology by the shopkeeper. By the shopkeeper. Again we can say that small traders are not benefited by GST because they have to hire CA and they have to give so much amount to CA that prepare my GST bill. So that is very big problem for small traders. So we can say that small traders are not benefited from GST. But government has given so much assistance that government has started composition scheme for small traders as well. So these are the challenges in the Indian tax system, and that is also in GST. So these are challenges, these are the benefit of GST. Again we can say that GST regarding some facts, just like we have talked about composition scheme and e-way bill. There is a two big point. Composition scheme. Composition scheme. And again we can say that e-way bill. E-way bill. There is a big point. Note it down. These are the points. Again we will discuss the e-way bill and composition scheme. So we will discuss here composition scheme. Government has started composition scheme for small traders. Government has started this scheme for small traders. And then how can we define the small traders? How we can say that these are the small traders? So government has limit that 1.5 crore less than turnover is called small traders. So everyone, we can say that any trader which has 1.5 crore less than turnover, it is included in the composition scheme. And the composition scheme says that if a normal person, he has to return the file, 3 files in a month: input, output, and input credit tax. So 3 files in a month they have to return easily. So they have to hire CA as well. Small traders income is not so much important, just like pan wala. It is a very small shop. How he can hire CA? That please return my file, please you can say that hire a CA, and so much money have taken by the CA as well. So this is a big loss for the small traders. So government has decided that we will give the composition scheme benefit to the small traders, and the small traders which have 1.5 crore less than turnover, which will be included in the composition scheme. So we can say that government has started this scheme from small traders. And the small traders, who are the small traders? Small traders are those who has less than 1.5 crore turnover. They don't have to return 3 files in a month. So what is the benefit? They don't have to return file they don't have to return files in a month. They don't have to return 3 files in a month. 3 files in a month. So this is a big scheme which are for the small traders. Again we can say that what is e-bill? E-bill is an electronic bill. What is? It is an electronic bill. When the bill is required, electronic bill that is implemented from the 1st of April 2018. E-way bill was enforced on 1st of April 2018. E-way bill is an electronic bill. It is an electronic bill when the bill was required. It was required at the supply of goods and at the return of the goods. So we can say that when it was required, e-way bill was when it was required. at the time of supply and at the time of return of goods. At the time of supply and at the time of return the goods. At the time of return of the goods. So the e-way bill was required at the time of supply and at the time of return of goods. And again the question is phrase in our mind, then who can prepare the bill? The bill is prepared by the supplier, the bill can be prepared by the purchaser, and the bill can be prepared by the transporters. So we can say that e-way bill, who made the e-way bill? The bill can be made by three persons: buyer, supplier, and the transporter. And when the bill is required? The bill is required when the goods are 50,000 plus of rupees. When goods are 50,000 plus of rupees, and the e-way bill is required when the distance is 10 kilometer or plus. These are the conditions when the e-way bill are required. When the goods are 50,000 plus and the distance is 10 kilometer plus, then e-way bill is required, then three system. So if the price of the item is more than 50,000 and the distance is 10 kilometer or more, then the bill is required. So e-way bill is an electronic bill, and electronic bill which was enforced in 1st of April 2018, when it was required at the time of supply and at the time of return. And who made the bill? Three person can make the bill: buyer, supplier, and transporter. And the condition is that the distance is 10 kilometers or far, then the bill is required. Again we can say that if the prices of the item, your goods, is 50,000 or plus, then the bill is required. So that is e-way bill, is an electronic bill. Again we are here, we have talked about. Last but not the least, we have two institutions. We have discussed here, NAPA and ICC. So what is this? We also discuss here NAPA. What is NAPA? National Anti-Profiting Authority. National Anti-Profiting Authority. Anti-Profiting Authority. This is a body which we can say that it is a body which identify the GST related frauds, but in 2022 it was abolished, and in place of NAPA, Indian Competition Commission was established in 2022. So it is very clear to all of you. NAPA, write down the full form of NAPA. What is NAPA? It is a National Anti-Profiting Authority. A National Anti-Profiting Authority. It was established in 2017. Established in 2017. It was established in 2017. NAPA is a National Anti-Profiting Authority that was established in 2017. And we can say the structure. If we see the structure, 1 plus 4. The structure of NAPA was 1 plus 4. And 1 plus 4, 1 chairman and 4 members. 1 plus 4. Again, note the functions of NAPA. What was the functions? To identify the GST related frauds. To identify the GST related frauds. GST related frauds. Again, note a line make a note that in 2022 it was abolished. 2022 it was abolished. In 2022 NAPA was abolished and in place of NAPA and its power was given by and its powers was given by taken away by the ICC. ICC is that, what is ICC? ICC, Indian Competition Commission. Indian Competition Commission. Indian Competition Commission. So it was a body that was established in 2017 to identify the GST related frauds, but now its power was taken away by the Indian Competition Commission in 2022. 2022 it was abolished. NAPA was not a body like now. Again, there is a very important, this is a NAPA. This is a very important segment, but again we can say that it is a important 2016 a GSTN was established. What is GSTN? GSTN, Goods and Service Network. We can say that it is a GST network. GST network. What is GST network? It is not a body, but it is a network, and the network is that we can say that a company that is established to provide IT related services to GST stakeholders. We can say that what is GSTN? It was framed in 2016 before GST. So what is this? It is a company. It is a company which gives GST related IT services. GST related IT services to GST stakeholders. GST stakeholders. So this was GSTN. So you have to remember this also, stakeholders. So what we have discussed here, we have discussed GST in a very detailed manner. GST is that we have discussed what is GST and 101 Constitutional Amendment Act, development of GST, why GST need, and according to GST constitutional provision, then GST rates, GST composition scheme, and then e-way bill and NAPA, then it is replaced by ICC. So firstly we have discussed here direct tax and indirect tax. That is the basic difference is that impact of tax and incidence of tax. When it is at the same person, same unit, it is called direct, and when it is different units, it is called indirect. It is a we can say that it cannot be shifted, it can be shifted. There is a basic difference. GST is a indirect tax, you have to remember. So Central GST Act, the 5 act was passed, 4 in parliament and 1 is state legislatures. Central GST, that is called CGST, IGST, UTGST, and then State Compensation Act. And then Compensation Act 2015-16 financial year is make the basis of the compensation, and again 2022 it has been increased for the 5 years again. Then compensation again will be given 5 years again. State GST Act was passed. It was implemented as sales tax. State sales tax, again sales tax is known as state GST. Then CGST, central excise duty is imposed by the central government, was imposed by the central government. Then CED was now, today CED is known as Central GST Act. Again, we can say that we have seen known the value addition tax in France 1954. The firstly VAT system was introduced, and the GST is based on value addition tax. Our GST system is based on Canadian model, so we can say that in Canada there is a VAT also and GST also. In India there is a VAT also, GST also. It is comprehensive tax, double tax system, destination tax, multi-tier, multi-pointed, value added and integrated. So double tax, why double tax? Because of CGST and SGST. Again, we can say that central government tax and state government tax. Overall 17 different indirect taxes were included in GST. Again, we discussed the development 2, 3, 6 and 11. Then you have to remember the 14, 16 and 8 September of 2016. Again, 1st of July 2017 it was implemented. Again, why need of GST? We have discussed in the main perspective that because of different tax system there was complexities, and that's why GST was needed. Again, there was tax on tax and the cascading effect was created because GST was needed, and there was highly tax evasion. Tax evasion is a illegal process and tax avoidance is a legal process. Again, to increase tax base, to coordinate international level because of this highly need, to increase foreign investment in India, GST was needed, and to integrate Indian tax system, GST was needed. Again, we are discuss the constitutional provision. This is very important because 366 definition of GST, 366A, 366(24)A, 246A, 269A, 270 and 279A, GST Council. Again, we discuss the structure of chairman, central finance minister, state finance minister. Quorum 50% is must. Vote 75% is required, and the central government 1/3 and state government 2/3. This is very important, 33 and 66 ratio. Again, state can't alone take any decision. This is very important point. Then again, we have discussed the functions of GST. Functions we have discussed GST rates 0%, 5%, 12% and 80%, 28%, 5 slab. Again, the benefits of consumer class, business class, Indian economy, then Indian tax system. We have discussed the benefits. Again, challenges, there are some challenges before GST, so you have to, question can be asked in mains examination, so you have to remember these points in your mind. Again, GST say important, that is composition scheme and e-way bill. Composition scheme for small traders, and e-way bill is required when the prices of the item is more than 50,000 and the distance is 10 km or more, then e-way bill is required. NAPA, National Anti-Profiting Authority, 2017, 1+4, identify the GST rates, but its power now has been taken by the Competition Commission. This is very important. Then again, we have discussed the GSTN. GSTN is that GST network. It is a company that was established to provide GST related IT services to the GST stakeholders, or GST we can say shopkeeper. So this is all about GST. It is a very important. In 2 hours we have a great detailed discussion in GST. So it is a topic of public finance, and in short we will read here, we always read this topic in the fiscal policy as well. So this is a part of fiscal policy also, and this is a part of public finance also. So you have to clear that what is GST and what is the exam oriented question can be asked from this topic. So I think you don't have to read any other side, any other book. This topic is we have read in sufficient manner. So this is all about today. We can say that again we will meet next topic or new energy, new we can say new Indian economy segment. So we also come here from Rajasthan economy, so please stay connected with us so that we can give your demand, we can fulfill your demand for English medium as well. So this is all for today. Stay connected with us, and again it's a very humble request to each and every one of you that please subscribe this channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. This is very humble request to all of us. So this is all today. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.